After this classification of research on the basis of objectives, come with the research process. Research process contains three major steps. First part, that is the collection of data, second analysis of data, and third one is the interpretation of data. In all these three stages, the researcher required the skilled analytical methods for collection, analysis and interpretation of data. With this process, the researcher interest with the research is to know about their importance. Importance of research can be explained. In the words of jurist, Hudson said that all progress is born of inquiry. Doubt is often better than overconfidence, for it leads to inquiry, and inquiry leads to investigation. Research progress somewhere beneficial for future actions or decisions, where the person is aware about the reality, truthness of the facts and the phenomena, he can take the best decision as to his life. Carl Pearson has stated about the importance of research in very nice composition of words, that is, there is no shortcut to the earth, there is no shortcut to the truth, no way to gain knowledge of the universe except through the gateway of scientific method. He has advocated the use of scientific methods, scientific investigation to know the reality. For the law scholars, after understanding the basics of research, it is necessary to explain about the nature of legal research. Legal research is the subject related to the social science approach. Because law is the normative science, law cannot be studied independently. Law is an instrument to control the social behavior, social ordering. That is why the legal research has to be studied in the light of social phenomena. But the characteristic of legal research is distinct from other streams of social science because of its distinct authoritative sources of knowledge. Basic sources of knowledge are the legislation, precedent and customs. Juristic writing is another common source frequently used in legal researches. Society is a dynamic concept, so law cannot be static. That is why the legal research is very important for the social development and social utility. Objective of legal research can be explained in following points: finding out the objectives of existing law and customs, to check their utility in changing social demands, to find out the lacuna if any exist, and to take the necessary steps to overcome such problem. To find out the possibilities of prevention and control of social evils by enactment and improvement of law, providing space and improvement and importance to new and changing technologies affecting individual rights, social order and legislative provisions, their implementation, enforcement and infringement. Comparison of two or more legislations resulting conflict is also a common object of legal research. To discover new facts, test and verify old facts, analyze the facts in new theoretical framework can be the objective of legal research. There are some specific procedural models and methods which are commonly used in legal research. These are evolutive, explicative, identificatory, correlative, impact analysis and interactive model. Evolutive model contain the procedure by which roots of social evils are identified and their prohibition and control is suggested by the legal research. Evolutionary theory was basically propounded by Darwin. He said that evolutionary theory is a theory directed at explaining the present by looking at his past. Second, explicative model. Explicative model is used with certain objectives in legal research, where the objective of research is to ascertain the nature, scope and sources of any law, legislation or any statute. And the stated sources, legislation and nature are compared with their real social condition. And thereafter, any conclusion may be drawn as to the real nature of law. Objectives and limitations of law can also be focused by this method. Third is identificatory model. This model has the direct approach towards the finding, searching those persons beneficiaries of any law, legislative schemes or provision of law. If any law has been enacted with certain objective and its objective is denoting that certain class of group is the beneficiary of this legislative scheme, the purpose of researcher is to check this thing whether this legislation is actually serving the stated objectives or not, or is there any other person behind the curtain who is the beneficiary of these provisions and schemes. Next is projective model. Projective model is used to find out the attitude, responsiveness and reactivity of the society towards particular piece of legislation. Invitation of public opinion before introducing any new legislation or amending existing one, so that difficulties arise in implementation of policy can overcome. Survey method is usually used with this projective model to find out the social response towards any legislative action. Next is correlative model. The correlative model makes the comparison between two existing law, provisions of law, models of law. Its objective is to compare two rules to find out which one is more workable and by which the desired effect may be achieved. Next is impact analysis. By the term itself, you can understand that impact analysis process is focused to find out the impact of any rule, legislative principle, provisions on society. Here the impact of legal principles, rules and institutions on society are studied, and if any deficiency found in their relation, it is corrected by the researcher. Suggestion for necessary changes can be made for improvement. These are the objective of impact analysis. After impact analysis, another model is interactive model. Study the involvement of some other factors while interaction of legal provision with the society. During the interaction of law with the social phenomena, other factors, variables which are interacted, their role, their nature and effects are studied. The focus of researcher in this model is to find out the evidences showing the interaction of certain variables, their nature and effects on the law and society. After discussing about this basic approach of research, technical sense of research, procedure applied for research, this is the time to conclude the lecture. Research is a systematic process of investigating unknown facts or explanation of existing facts with certain objectives. Here the systematic process can be achieved by following the scientific methods suggested for this thing. In scientific method, there are various approved models, and researcher can select any of the model according to objective and purpose of research. Role of legal researchers are also important in finding, analyzing, and explaining the relation of law and society. Methods which are used for ordinary research in social science systems are also usually applicable in legal law researches. But these methods are opted in law stream with certain modifications, certain amendments which are necessary to satisfy the purpose within the scopes of legal regime. Thank you on my part.